Speaksies.
This is the True Podcast.
True Podcast.
About a few acquaintances
Forced to stay at home and have their feelings recorded.
find out what happens when people stop going out.
And start getting real.
About toilet paper.
We're your hosts, Scott and Erin.
This is Panic at the Costco.
All right, we are back. The panic is back because people are panicking again. Hi, Erin. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
Well,
I don't want to give too much away.
So the reason she's not going to give too much away is because actually I shouldn't be laughing. There's something that seems kind of, I don't know. It's not comical, but just, well, let me just explain it. So a few days ago, both Erin and I started getting messages from friends, family, loved ones with pictures of empty toilet paper aisles. And all of a sudden we felt like the bat signal is going up, the toilet paper bat signal, and the panic is back. And we need to talk about it because we're very relevant again. But then she dropped a bomb on me, which was someone that she had been around had been exposed to COVID, and that she was going to have to take a COVID test. And we don't know the results yet. And she received the results today. So, she has a little smile on her face too. There's something that's very dramatic about this. Right. But I told her, if you have COVID, I don't know how to react to that. So she is going to live, I would say live stream. We're not really live streaming, but she's going to open her results live, and we're going to find out if she's going to have to quarantine for how. So before you reveal the results, what happens if you're positive? What does that do to you? What are the next steps?
I think I would, number one, panic, right? Pretty safe to assume that. I think if you're positive, you go through all of those steps by the health department and whatnot. But for me, it would just be pure panic and isolation.
Well, yeah, because if you guys have been listening to the episodes, up until now, I have been a little more laissez-faire, just because it's in my nature. Not that I haven't worn my mask and done the things I'm supposed to. I have. But Erin has been on the ball. She has been wiping down the groceries, or having her husband wipe down the groceries. But you've been doing all the right things. So I think that's another reason why it's like, hell, this would suck.
Right. This would totally suck. But also then you always hear of that person, right, who's done all the things and still got COVID. So,
right.
But should I open my phone? I'll open my phone and I will tell you. Maybe you can insert a drum roll.
We're gonna insert a drum roll right here.
Okay. According to CDS, I'm COVID negative.
Oh yes.
Rejoice.
Thank God.
Rejoice.
We
get the little
it would have been so awkward if you were COVID positive, because I think my first reaction would probably be like, what? Oh my God. And meanwhile you'd be having a personal crisis.
We would have to pause the podcast for sure. I'd be like, wait a minute, cut.
I know.
I have a terrible poker face, so you obviously knew I was negative.
I know you well enough to know that you were probably going to be negative, but we have a lot to talk about tonight. I don't want to move on yet though, but for our listeners, we're going to cover what's going on right now. We're here right around the Thanksgiving holiday. It feels like we're back in March. We've got some things to talk about, so we're going to just, I guess, Erin, you had a few things. We're definitely going to talk about the TP shortages, the testing shortages, but I do want to hear more about your testing, I guess, the process, because I think you said to me that it wasn't easy. So what happened?
No, it's total bullshit. But first, really, so I want to go back to the actual text that I got from, let me back up for a second. So let me back way up. 14 days ago, I was in a meeting, and we were all wearing masks and outside, and except for when we were eating. But 6 feet-ish apart. One of the people at the meeting, their spouse tested positive for COVID. And so that was on Friday, last Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when I got a text that someone I was around is possibly, has COVID. When you get that text, right?
Yeah.
It's like, well, for me, but I think other people can probably relate, especially people who have had to take the test.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, oh, I feel so bad for this person who's possibly having really bad symptoms, who is having bad symptoms. You're like, holy shit, it's like a 20-second mental rundown of your interaction, trying to remember, like, okay, did this person sneeze on me? Did they cough? What did they touch?
Right.
And then you get out like your mental calculator, or me, like my computer calculator, and start figuring out how many days, when they started symptoms. Then you're starting to Google, like, because you're not really sure how it works, like you think but then you need to really find out how many days and exposure and all that. And then it's a mad scramble to find a test, which is what happened. Like, I just thought, because I've never been tested before, and because I think not necessarily what the president said, because I really don't believe what he says.
Really? You don't think he's always honest?
Feeling. So, but I think, I've heard people that I'm acquaintances with that said, oh, I've got to go get a COVID test to travel, or I've got to get a COVID test because my roommate's whatever was pregnant, was positive. So I just thought, you go down to the CVS or
that's what I thought,
and you get yourself a test.
Yeah.
Wrong. Maybe a few months ago that was correct, or maybe even like a month ago. But now it is next to impossible. So I tried to go through my doctor, regular doctor. If you're not showing symptoms, which clearly I wasn't, they don't want to see you. You need to just stay home and quarantine until you show symptoms, or you can get yourself a test somewhere else.
So wait, hold on. So let me okay. Because I'm one of those people too, and I think most people listening probably haven't had a test. So you called your doctor, and they said, that was sexist. I said he.
Actually,
she said, but basically the office said, don't come in because you don't have symptoms, but also like we won't give you a test. You got to go find a test.
Yes.
That's right off the bat, like not what you want to hear. Now, I'm not saying it's bullshit or it's not, because I don't, but it kind of feels like bullshit. So then what happened?
Well, and of course, if you're asymptomatic, then you still want to know, because then you could spread it, to other people, especially in your house. So that's out the window.
Right.
Then I tried BetterMed, because I'm like, all right, I know BetterMed has the rapid, because then there's the PCR, and then there's the, God, I gotta research this. Maybe, PCR and the other one.
Yeah.
It's the PCR is the lab.
I just read it. There's the other one that's more expensive, right? And
the rapid is, well, they're all supposed to, okay, this is another thing. BetterMed will charge you like $185 to take the test, where somewhere like CVS and everywhere else in your doctor's office and everything, the test is actually free. But some places, some urgent care clinics like BetterMed, and screw you, BetterMed, you're not going to be a sponsor of this show, are sneaking in a little exam so they can charge you $185 to take your test.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So that's gouging.
It's awful. So first of all, you have to go online, and it's kind of like in college when you had to refresh until you can get your class. That's what you have to do.
Way more deadly.
Way more deadly. And you have to keep refreshing, trying to find a location. I was looking in like up to Fredericksburg. Everything was booked solid for 2 days. They said they don't release until some of them, like if someone cancels an appointment, then you've got a shot at being on the right
Right.
time to get that appointment online. Otherwise, no. So just kept trying there. CVS, again, like the only certain locations had the rapid test, the others have the lab test. And again, having to refresh, having to try to get an appointment was insane. I just didn't expect it. It was like incredibly frustrating, but also I felt like I was duped by I don't know who, the media, the president, the people that were getting COVID tested, everybody. It's a hot mess to try to get a test at least if you don't have symptoms, you don't have a primary care doctor and you do have symptoms, then I don't know. I mean, good luck.
So, okay, I was in preparation for this show because I was actually very surprised because when you kind of hinted at the fact that I think you basically just said, boy, do I have a story because this is bullshit. But I listened. Actually, I didn't listen. I read the transcript of a NPR show where there was an interview just a couple days ago with, I guess, this guy named Brett Giroir, who is the quote unquote man in charge of testing in the United States, Admiral Brett. I know I'm saying that wrong, but Giroir. Anyway, in a nutshell, she was like reading him kind of the riot act, going, what's going on? Why can't people get tested? People are basically everything you just said. She was like the voice of, there are a bunch of people like this. And he, just from reading it, was very, I don't know if I should call him defensive or not, but he said, because I didn't hear it, but his take was like, look, we've got millions and millions and millions of tests. We didn't have anything, when this first started, like in March, there were like a few thousand. Now we have millions and millions. But she's like, but why in this country where we can, why when we can get a man on the moon, why can't people get testing or whatever? The only plausible thing that he did say, not that this should take away from your outrage, but, because she pressed him on it, was that a lot of people, I guess, now that it's like right before the holidays, they called it like the Thanksgiving bottleneck, basically, where a lot of people want to know, hey, can I? So but see, here's my issue. You didn't have symptoms, okay? But we know that I think half of people don't have symptoms, okay? That's the last stat I heard. Half of people have no symptoms if they have it, but still are dangerous because they have it and they can carry it. But you were exposed to somebody who was exposed to COVID or whatever, right? So it wasn't like you were just, hey, I want to go get checked out to see if I have COVID. Like I could see them saying, like, if you have absolutely no reason, let's save it. But you did have a reason. So the whole thing about, well, people are trying to figure out if they can travel for Thanksgiving, I don't feel like that's a great excuse, because you could just say, if there's been some exposure, I don't know. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but but anyway, that was the excuse.
No, I know what you're saying. So, right. They're saying because the holiday people just want to make sure. But what's tricky with that is that you may be COVID negative on, and not know that you were exposed beforehand. So you may be asymptomatic on day 5. You might get sick after Thanksgiving, right? Like the day after. And then we just infected your whole family.
That's
so
right.
that sucks.
Right, because it's not smallpox.
Right.
It's you're not gonna start having boils immediately when you get it, and that's the whole thing with this. So that's an excellent point.
Yeah, and that I mean, but I understand like trying to. I mean, people think that that's safer, which I guess it is safer than just showing up with your suitcases and being like, I don't know if I got COVID or not, and get tested.
Right.
But I will tell you that there was a line at that damn CVS that I did end up getting. And you do have to answer some questions beforehand with any like symptoms that you may be having. Were you exposed to someone with COVID? Well, I wasn't exposed to someone with COVID, but the person's spouse has COVID. And actually the person that I was exposed to didn't get COVID. Wow. So kudos to them for doing whatever, or maybe they just got lucky.
Or maybe maybe that's a sign that the relationship isn't going that hot. No, just kidding. I don't even know these people. But
and you will never. We are all about protecting the privacy of
absolutely
our people that we talk about. But so I think that I mean, there was a ton of people online in front of me and behind me. And also to note, because I am very germ aware.
Yes.
I'm not going to say a phobe, but I'm germ aware.
Mm-hmm.
And after they walk you through the swabbing. So you have to, stick it way up your nose. Although I didn't like cry, and some people say it felt like it was tickling your brain. It didn't quite. I don't think I would have done it as well as someone from Better Med would have
Sure.
done.
Sure.
But anyway, you have to put it in the this test tube after it takes like 30 seconds. And then they have this bin you drive up, kind of like the drive-through at McDonald's, where you're going up in or any fast food, and you go to the second little part of the window, and there's a drop box where you're supposed to deposit your sample in and it's already in a plastic bag, and then you deposit it into the box.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like, I don't want to touch this box out my window that
Yeah.
all these COVID hands.
Right.
So I'm fishing around in my car like, I know I put a rubber glove in here somewhere.
Right.
And I found one glove, my OJ glove, and I put it on, and I opened the thing, and I threw it in there. And then I took the glove, and I was like, where am I going to put this glove? How am I going to get the glove off that I just touched the COVID box with?
Yeah.
So luckily I had a paper towel somewhere in there that my kids probably just threw. And
but then you're like, where do I put this? the chain reaction. But here's the thing.
And I used a paper towel, which was like hot commodity.
But hey, I mean, speaking of paper towels, we'll get into that. But though, that's very smart, and you may have saved yourself from COVID, because it seems silly, but you don't know. There may have been a little globule of spit with COVID on it in that thing that is now on that. I mean, seriously, I don't know. So you got to do what you got to do. I do like the branding that you had. What was it? Your germ
aware.
Germ aware. I like that.
Germ aware. And I just need CVS to fix the box. Just fix the process. Bit on the end. So.
It does seem kind of ridiculous. It's like, I'm here to get tested because I think I have COVID. So let me just reach my hand in, and it's kind of like people that are kind of germ aware, as you put it, that do things like, put their hand in a big bag of popcorn that somebody else is eating out of, and you're like, wait a minute, that's really gross. But you won't shake my hand because you're germ aware. But you'll go. Sometimes there's not a lot of logic there, because that doesn't seem very logical. So let me ask you. How many days was it from when you did the swab to when you got the results?
Mine was only 2. So they say 3 to 4. And maybe if you have a positive test, I don't know, they have to go through another round of testing. I don't know, because I have heard most people say it's like at least 3 days. Yeah. And I could not get my test same day, so I had to take it on Saturday. So I was like, well, maybe they're not working on a Sunday.
Right.
Figured. But yeah, so I was happy about that. And they just text it to you.
They text it to you. I like it. Yeah. I mean, it's better. I actually, though, when you brought up your phone, I was thinking you were going to have like a big envelope with the results, like Oscar style. Right. But
yeah.
Do you, I know what I was going to ask you. Do you, or did you? Okay. So let's just talk about COVID for a second. And I know at the beginning we were joking about it before, but you were definitely taking measures, wiping down the groceries, things like that. Did you ever stop? Are you back to doing it again? Like, what are measures that you personally take, and how is it different than what it was in March?
Yeah, we are no longer wiping down groceries. We some study came out, right? Or somebody said something.
Yeah, no, you're following the science, because the study did come out recently that said I think it doesn't live, like nobody's contracted it from a surface or whatever, but you didn't know that, or something like that, right?
Right, because in the beginning they were like, oh, it can live on cardboard for X amount of hours and this amount for 2 days, and you're like, and playground equipment for 5 days, and you're like, okay, so that's why the playgrounds were closed. That's why I wiped down like milk and orange juice and like things that everybody touched. I'm not gonna wipe down tofu because nobody's touching that. And I'm not eating it, but my husband does. So that was like for a good, 2 months, I'd say, of wiping down groceries.
Yeah, because we didn't know what was going on. I mean, yeah.
Otherwise, I like right now things have ramped up. So I've always been wearing masks. Like I
Yeah.
think everyone can wear a mask.
Yeah.
Um, Now, like when my kids play with other kids, even outside, they have
Mhm.
masks on. Because the kids can't socially distance. That's one thing we learned. It is not possible for kids
Yeah, we definitely
unless
talked
they're in
about
a
that.
school environment. If they're in a neighborhood environment, they're not
Mhm.
socially distancing. So we have like our little pod on our
Yeah.
street, and they now have to wear masks. I make my kids, and I don't
Mhm.
make anybody else's kid. But if you're going to play with my kid in my backyard, you got to wear a mask. So
Yeah.
it's tough. It's annoying. I hate doing this,
Yeah, but
but I have like my mom watches my kids 2 days a week, and
Mhm.
she's in a higher risk category.
Mhm.
So it's not just like us that we have to think about. It's
Right.
who's
Well,
watching our kids and our nanny and the teacher. I'm like, okay,
the thing about the masks is, in my opinion, so I just listened to a podcast where this guy from Yale who's done all these studies was talking, and he was talking about the mask thing, right? And he's like, yeah, like everyone, nobody like wants to wear a mask. It's not fun. But he said, as annoying as it is, in the scheme of things of like what we could be dealing with based on historic pandemics,
Mhm.
this is just nothing. Like this is a slight discomfort, but you go back to polio, you go back to, and again, I don't polio, yeah, polio, gosh, what was the other one he was talking about? Smallpox. I mean, these
Mhm.
things, I mean, it could be, you could have lesions all over your body. And we're just lucky. That's it. We're just lucky that COVID is, yeah, yes, it can kill you and it's bad, but like it could be so much worse.
And do you think that if COVID were, and I don't know if you've seen this meme, because memes are getting us through.
Yes.
Um, it's like if COVID made dicks fall off, there'd be a cure in 6 weeks.
I did not see that, but that's true. I mean,
Like so my question to you is if you think not that one in particular,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
if it made your body somehow more grotesque, like it caused like
Mhm.
these visible horrible lesions, or you looked like something out of Capone, which I'm going to plug our previous episode. Go back and watch our previous
Yeah.
episode with
Well,
Apocalypse.
if we have time, we should hit on all these topics and where we are now with them
Yeah.
and stuff we were watching, because there's some good recommendations. But go to your question
Oh,
though.
yes. So do you think if it were grotesque that people would put like wear a mask, or let's just say
Yeah,
that's what we've done.
a million percent, right? Because what I thought you were going to ask is, would we have a vaccine faster or would we have tests available? And I don't know the answer to that. The answer to your actual question is abso-freaking-lutely, because I think what kind of happened is we've all watched 28 Days Later and Contagion and these
Mhm.
movies, and whenever a pandemic hits, it's people are, vomiting like Reagan in The Exorcist, right? Like,
Right.
and so when people aren't doing that, it makes it a lot easier to take it less seriously. And we are lucky, right, in that sense. But I remember when it first came out, talking to Steve about it before you and I even had the podcast, and he said the worst thing about this is the fact that half people, however many people, don't the symptoms aren't visible. If we were getting lesions popping up like crazy, not only would we be wearing a damn mask, right? We'd be staying
Mhm.
home. You wouldn't want to show your face. So I think so.
Yeah, I agree, because nobody wants to be grotesque. No, but even if you're just around a few people, it's just uncomfortable, and it's
Yeah.
like and it's proof that it can happen. Like I think
Visual proof.
visual proof,
Hmm.
and you know, I don't know. Nobody wants to be walking around like that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
you wouldn't have super spreader events, right? You wouldn't
Right.
have. I think I sent you a message about. I was like, gosh, I'm kind of glad I'm not DJing anymore, because there was some story about a wedding in some state that half of the attendants ended up testing positive for COVID, and I'm like, I had some weddings to DJ this year, and we
Yes.
talked before about like, oh, I have this kind of moral dilemma of, do I bail on somebody's wedding or do I contribute to potential super spreader event.
Right.
But back to the point though, if it was boils and lesions or whatever, nobody's getting, none of those events are
Right.
happening,
Exactly.
right? I mean, I think
Yeah.
I could be wrong. Maybe people would say, hey, I still can do what I want, but.
Well, by the way, I tried to pull up that photo and I wanted to get the name right. That's why I'm pulling up my phone.
Oh,
It
are
was
you not?
unavailable, but
Oh.
it said because Moist Buddha, which is the name, has a private account. So
Yeah.
whoever,
Sorry about that.
maybe you have to bleep him out. I don't know, but
No. Moist
I
Buddha
really
it's a meme account.
okay.
See, I hate so you said memes are getting us through. It's really annoying that a lot of them are private and they do it on purpose so you'll then follow to see the meme. But that's what it was what I just said. So
The name alone.
Moist, yeah, anything. By the way, that reminds me of my friend Chris. I can't remember if Steve's brother Chris. So Steve, when I'm talking about Steve, it's
Back to
Steve
school.
Glussman. Yeah, he was on our back to school episode. He got Steve a shirt. It was like a red shirt that just said "moist" on the front because some people have a huge aversion to that word. I don't
hate
really
it.
get it. Do you hate? Okay, I'm sorry.
It's a word I love to hate. And one year I actually sent ad agencies that I work with client gifts. And my gift that year was custom wrapping paper. And I had it with like all of the like my favorite worst words. That was just like all over the
What were some of the other ones?
Wallpaper. I meant wrapping paper.
I heard wrapping paper.
Okay, good. I just for a second. So yeah, congeal is another really good one.
It conjures words that conjure up an image.
Yeah.
Which moist, sorry, I keep saying it. And yes, to me, congeal is way worse than moist.
It's so fat. So yeah, anyway, that is a tangent, but on the word moist and we've just said it way too many times now that we have to stop. And we might have to give a warning, like a trigger warning at the beginning of the time.
Okay, we should do that. I was thinking about we should just name the episode, but I don't even want to say it again. But that word. So I have no idea where we are.
well, let's talk about. Well, I mean, there's so much stress beyond like, COVID and getting tested for COVID, and I mean, think about what's happened. I guess since our back to school episode, which was back in like late August. Like, okay, the first obvious thing is. Well, we've had a lot of post-election trauma too. There's just the election that ends, but then doesn't end, and then ends, and then doesn't end, and then ends. Well, it's just like there was just so much build up to it, and so much like no matter who you voted for, it was contentious and ugly, and just everybody just felt the weight of it. And I'm so freaking glad it's over ish.
Well, let me frame it up to you this way and ask you a question. Okay. So by the way, this episode is sort of a emergency panic episode because, if we don't do an episode when TP is, going off the shelves and Erin got COVID, we're not doing our job. So, but we're also going to do a year in the year review, and we're going to talk about a lot of this stuff too. But I guess we purposely didn't do a podcast around election time, which I think is the smart thing to do. I think at one point I pitched, "Hey, let's do like a live stream during election night," and that was and we both just immediately said, "Bad idea." I'm trying to figure out. So I've unplugged from social media. I mean, I'm on Instagram, but not Facebook. I have not looked at the news or Twitter or anything like that in a while. So I actually don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? When it comes to like, I assume Biden's president or president-elect at this point.
He's still president-elect.
There's no Kraken that has been released or anything.
No.
Yeah. So with that said, what is your prediction? Because we've done a lot of kind of just predict, not like who's going to win the Super Bowl, but just sort of like, how are things going to turn out? Like, obviously, I'm hoping that we turn the page on 2020 and maybe we start now. And I know that like the Biden and like Democrats and people have started talking a lot about like healing and all this stuff. Is that possible? Is that going to happen? Do you think? Are we going to just mentally be less stressed, or is that a pipe dream? What do you think? And I mean like in the near future, are we going to start moving that way? What do you think?
Yeah, I was talking with Mike about this today, actually. Like, I thought pre-election, that because COVID was just taking up so much of our mental space, and we were, like, oh wow, nurses and doctors and grocery store workers and heroes and all of this, like, kumbaya, going to, human experience stuff. And then the election happened, and it was just like, it was awful. It was the worst it could possibly
Well, talk
be.
about that. Like, what do you,
It was
from your perspective, what was so awful?
just the contentiousness between,
Hmm.
not even the candidates, because that was just silly,
Ridiculous. Yeah.
but just the United States in general. Like,
It's kind of embarrassing.
it's so embarrassing, and
Mhm.
it's so sad. And I think
Mhm.
that's what made me the more, this, it wasn't necessarily stress for me, or I'm saying post-election trauma. It's more like this overall sadness. Like, this is
Yes.
who we are. Like, we're this is just awful. Like, this is a
I would
really
agree.
bad time for us right now. Very bad.
I totally agree. Sadness, would be my top emotion through the coming up to the election afterwards, and again, one reason just getting off social media and stuff, or Facebook specifically, was just feeling sadness of like, is this who we are? Why do we have to be so? Why do people have to be so nasty? And then you want to like point fingers, but then you're like, well, then I'm part of it. So what can I do? How can I help? How can I help things be better? And when you're not sure, it's like, at first, do no harm. Okay, I'm not going to post anything about it. I'm going to kind of just unplug, because I just feel sad about.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like we're not being the best that we can be here, or even close
Right.
as a collective, right?
Right. So, like, that gives me less hope for, and everyone's 2021, January 1st,
Right.
like, is not going to be this magic
Yeah.
time where we're like, okay, now everything's gone and this is awesome again. Like, I don't know why people say that, but
I know it is kind of arbitrary. It's like, let's hurry up and get this year done so we can start fresh. It's like,
right,
we could just start now, like trying to be better. But
right. That's the thing. And I think, I don't know. I don't have as much hope for
mhm.
unity right now, but I think, it's going to depend on, like, what Biden's going to do, how he plans to bring everybody together. I don't know
Well, I
what's going to
think,
happen.
yeah,
So good luck to him. I wish him the best of luck.
I think that, like, I personally think there are things that our leaders could do, and I don't want to get too political here, because I don't want to be part of alienating, or whatever. And I'm not going to sit here, and I'm not as smart as obviously the president of the United States, but it feels like there are things you could do, because in whatever your political side you're on, there are kind of extreme factions that could be kind of called out and not pandered to. So I'll just leave it
Right.
at that. And
I
that's true
agree.
for both
Yeah.
sides, right?
Yeah.
And I think you could do some of that, right? And I'd love to see it. I don't know. I don't think it's whether it was the religious right in the 90s, the Republicans needed that vote.
Mhm.
Whatever factions Trump needed, whatever factions Biden needs, the pandering happens, the not calling out happens. And here I'm kind of getting political, but just saying, like, I do think there are things that could happen, and I really hope they do. I only think it'll happen if there's a confluence of, like, if I do this thing, it'll also help be successful. So in the business world, a lot of companies have figured out that, like, doing the right thing actually is good for business.
Right. Of course. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Social responsibility, and yeah.
Yeah.
But
So, and not only that, like, even in my industry of finance, it's like in the credit card arena, for example, like, you can make money quickly with, like, hair trigger pricing, and, like, these things that, all of a sudden your rate goes to 70% if you make a late
right,
payment.
of course. Yeah.
And you make some short-term gains, but in the long term, it's not good for the economy. It's not good for your business. And hopefully there's some similar dynamic in the political sphere. But it's not just on our politicians, right? Like, it's definitely
I agree.
on all of us, and we can't put our hope in politicians or only in politicians. So that was a hard question I asked. I think that was a very fair answer, which is kind of like slightly pessimistic, but don't know. I would be probably in the same boat. Hopeful though.
Hopeful, but yeah, cautiously optimistic. Maybe not even that.
Yeah. I would say
But
hopeful. Yeah. Not like pessimistic, but hopeful, right?
hopefully aware.
Germ aware. Hopefully. No, I like the all the aware.
Yes.
So that's where we are. Like you said, a switch isn't going to flip. Can we talk a little bit about if we're kind of moving from this topic to the actual panic at the Costco that's happening right now and other stories around?
Yes.
I started getting people texting me, and then I actually went to the store. I guess it was yesterday. I had texted you and like, yep, sure enough, we're out again. How the hell does this happen? This happened in March. How are we doing it again?
It's crazy because I really just think it's because people started saying, or the media started saying, look, this is going to happen again. That's pretty much what happened.
So I found an article on November 1st that I don't remember what it was. But it was like a good public. It might have been the Wall Street Journal. It was one of these, and it said there in November, later this month, industry experts are saying there may be another run on these things, right? So it's the chicken or the egg. Did people just read that and go, oh shit, I got to go get all the toilet paper? Or were they actually seeing that there were going to be what? So I've read a bunch of articles, and they talk about the not the pipeline, but the supply chain issues. And I'm trying to figure out, well, what supply chain issues? Like, what does this mean? And like, I didn't find any really good explanations other than people saying like, well, because there are spikes, it actually affects the people that work in the warehouses, that work in the distribution centers. Less people are showing up for work, things like that, which is like, okay, that could be a factor. But the overwhelming factor is people getting worried and buying more than what they need. And then it's like, okay, why do we do this? Why is it toilet paper? Why aren't we running out of toothbrushes?
I have an answer for that.
Please tell me.
Actually, I'm going to plug our episode on conspiracy theories and go back to what David Oswald said about big paper.
Yes.
And it's making more and more sense. I mean, yeah, why aren't we low on toothpaste? Why aren't we low on deodorant? Why aren't we low on these things? Is it because did Scott and Charmin and Brawny and all these other brands get together and create their own panic? Did they plant these stories? I don't know. Go back to the episode and figure it out.
That's right. Big toilet paper.
Toilet paper. I mean, I don't know.
It really defies explanation. I would like to say, was that David Oswald's
David Oswald's theory.
I think that's the most plausible thing I've read, because the other things I read still were, it was basically like, I read one thing that said people aren't, okay, so they did a poll, and I'm doing really poorly at citing I've got my articles on my phone, and I don't have my phone up, and I don't want to bring it up, but I read this in a couple places where they said, there was a poll that said 43% of Americans said, and this was like a week or two ago, that they plan to buy extra paper towels and toilet paper than normal due to the recent spikes. And so what happens is people get scared, just like, because I remember, like, to be honest, I don't feel scared now. I think because in March, I felt a little worried, right? Like as a parent too, you're like, I don't know how to go forage for berries. I go to the grocery store. Like I'm a soft, man that needs the grocery store to be open. Okay. I'm not going to go slaughter anything or kill anything with my bare hands or whatever. So I was a little like, holy shit, what happens if we can't go to the grocery store? I don't have that feeling anymore because we kind of got through it. I'm not scared, but people are still scared. And what they're doing is, they're not just buying it and stockpiling for themselves. The reasons they give is because they want to be able to help out others. So people feel like, hey, I'm a caretaker of people. I am a person that needs to be looking out. I know my friend or my cousin or whoever isn't going to. I need to get one for me, one for them. And that I can
Right.
see that maybe. I mean, it's not as plausible as the conspiracy, no, but it also doesn't explain like why you wouldn't think to get a toothbrush. But
Right.
I guess when it comes down, not to be gross, I mean, I guess it's kind of like there
You
are
can
kind of
use
some,
the same one.
yeah, it's kind of like,
Yeah,
yeah, you can go a few days without brushing your teeth, but there's only so many leaves in the backyard.
exactly.
Or
Well, now there's plenty. The
that
fall, there's plenty.
two
Um,
birds with one stone, I guess. But
yeah.
that's really gross. I'm sorry, but
It's all right. Well, here's the thing I've figured out about like paper towels, because out of paper towels and toilet paper, really, toilet paper is the most, I
yeah,
mean, the least reusable. Okay, so a paper towel. Like my mom sometimes will take a paper towel, and if she barely used it on something like water, she
yeah,
will dry it out. I'm like,
right.
what? But there's another one. Anyway, I
Yeah,
realized
I've heard of
that
people doing that. Yeah,
it's and it's not a frugal thing. It's just like a why, I just it just cleaned up a little droplet. Well, which I understand. But anyway, I had a friend down the street who was totally out of paper towels, and
oh,
she brought up a very good point. I have about a month's supply, which I very generously gave her one of my rolls, which she was very grateful for.
oh, so you are one of those people that not you're no, I don't mean it in a bad way. It actually makes more sense to me if because hoarding for yourself, I kind of can understand, but I can more understand when you're able to help other people. So okay,
Well, it's not really a case of hoarding with me. It's more of I do a prime order. My husband does a prime order. We
mm.
both stupidly get the same things, and this has been happening for like months. So we
Oh,
always had like we have had a supply. It's not like we ran out and got a bunch of stuff because you can't find it really. But anyway, we had stuff. So I gave it to her, and she brought up a really good point that she was so grateful because she just did not want to use a dish towel. That dish towels are not the same thing. You cannot we all feel kind of gross about reusing dish towels over and
yeah,
over again. And
yeah,
we have to put them in the wash, and
yeah,
it's a big pain. And so, man, paper
yeah.
towel, I mean, I'm going to piss off some environmentalists.
No, you're right though.
It's annoying. I like,
There's a reason why. No, no, no. Trust me. I think about this sometimes because it's like I've got the thing here I can dry my hands with the towel, but gosh, that paper towel is so satisfying. It's also like in the bathroom, when you're, oh man, they don't have paper towels, I got to dry my hands in the air, but you're like, I want to be, you know, conscious of the environment and it's better for me, but just getting it off with the paper towel. So I do have a friend from college whose wife, well, they both do it, but she was really big into it. Like they had nothing disposable. I'm talking about even
mhm,
toilet paper. They used, I guess, like rags or something, and then they
yeah,
would like wash the rags. And to me, that's really gross. But like they didn't have paper towels, they didn't have anything. And I remember at one point because she was saying, "Yeah, why would we spend money on this? And it's better for the environment." I just remember doing a tally in my head and being like, "It seems like you're saving about $36 a month." But I mean, if it's for environmental reasons, I get it. But
well, here's
um,
the thing. To that point, I the cloth diapers with
yeah,
my first baby. Now
hmm,
I have three, and the other two, it didn't happen. And there's a reason for that because number one, I mean, it worked okay on one child. Like we got through it, but it was a pain.
yeah,
And not only that, what you save in like diapers,
hmm,
you almost use the same amount in energy and wash water.
well,
It's
yeah,
kind of like they kind of evens out. And I feel like and diapers are a huge problem in landfill. I get that. But also like, yeah, gross.
it's just it is what it is. It's just kind of gross. I will say though, and I've never tried this, and uh, but I mean, it's not like if you're thinking of it from a survival standpoint, okay, it, food you need obviously. I can see like hoarding pasta or whatever, and I
Mhm.
get the TP thing, but I mean, there are things you can go on to Amazon or to some website and get a freaking bidet attachment whenever you want. Like those are not in shortage, and people across the world use them. I never have, and I'm just saying I know it's an adjustment for people, but it's not like you wouldn't survive
True.
if there wasn't any toilet paper.
And
But
again, leaves aplenty.
leaves. I actually, one of the articles I read, it was a real article, but one of the experts made a joke, but I thought it was serious at first because he was talking seriously, and then he just said, I would advise during this time for people to find pine cones in the yard. And I honestly was like, I can't believe he's actually recommending pine cones. But then he said, oh gosh, there was like a payoff to the joke that now it was a dad joke, by the way, because he said something like, oh gosh, there was some pun at the end of it about pine cones. I was like, oh, he's joking. But anyway, so I think we'll see. It'll probably be like last time where the production issues clear up and, Big TP has made a fortune because prices do go up. Because I remember last time in March going, wait a minute, this is way more than normal. And I don't know if they're just like not putting them on sale or this is not what it normally costs.
Amazon and their third-party sellers and whatever. I mean, I don't know if it's Amazon doing this, but at least it's their third party. I mean, you can go on there and find paper towels for like $45 for a 6-pack.
If you buy paper towels for $45, I think that's on you. But so, okay, why don't we
hold on 1 second? Let me pause because I just got word that my puppy, my quarantine puppy, is alone on the couch, and I need to go get him so he doesn't go eat the Christmas tree.
Go take care of your quarantine puppy. We'll stay here. Yeah. Oh, puppy, quarantine puppy. See, we didn't get to see the quarantine chickens.
I heard something about the chickens, and he's way better, and should at least get us a few other views. Look,
that's our puppies. That's our cover.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't help it.
Cute.
So freaking cute. No, I'm trying to figure out what kind of dog it is but I can't really tell.
Here he is. He looks like a golden retriever.
Yeah, but he
is part. He's a mini golden doodle. So his grandpa was a toy poodle, and his grandma was a golden retriever. How that happened, I don't know.
You don't want to know. You don't want to think about it. But
a non-shedding, sweet little man that he is. But anyway, I'm gonna put him right here so he doesn't get into trouble.
Yeah, all I was saying was that we never got to see the quarantine chickens, but we get to see the quarantine puppy. Yeah, I'm okay with that. But
the quarantine chickens, man, bad idea, really bad idea. Go back and listen to those episodes too.
Oh my gosh, I need to go back. I think before we do our year in review, we need to go back and I want to go back and we had so many good guests, but I don't want to step on any of the stuff that we're going to do. Going to do then. We will probably talk about in our year in review the status of schools and stuff. But I mean, we should probably touch on that now and just you and I kind of catch up on what's going on. Are you still? I assume you're still homeschooling. Right? Or like what's going on with
well,
your kids are too young, I guess.
And virtual learning are very different. I am not teaching soul.
But how does that work though? Are they really on the screen all day long? Or?
Well, my two younger ones have we call her the teacher. She's like a teacher / nanny. So she has she teaches my two younger ones and watches them, and she's amazing. And then my older one, he's in 4th grade. He is virtual because the way it works in our county is that you can do hybrid 2 days a week. Then you're off on Wednesday, and then you're not off, but you have to learn asynchronously the other 3 days. So you're on your own. You get like your assignments, and you have, I think, 2 check-ins with the teacher, and then bye. Like I need 5-day a week teaching. So we stuck with virtual. And it's not ideal, but he's doing really well. Like I don't know how he's doing really well. He has an amazing teacher. That's part of it. Big part of it. Engaging teacher. But there's days he gets really frustrated, and he's like, I need, the PE teacher's like, all right, well, go outside and run around for a little while. I'm like, all right, just I see him going out. I'm like, are you supposed to be running outside? Like, why
Does
are
he?
you
So
working?
does he do it? He actually just goes out. So that's the PE is like go run.
Correct,
Yeah, I guess so.
you know? So it's actually working out pretty well for us. I
Good.
don't know. I can't say the same thing about like if I had a kindergartner, how that would go virtual or anything else. But I mean, it's working out okay for us. And you guys are full time, right? So how's
Yeah,
that
yeah.
just being
Well,
regular school, right?
yeah. So and I wanted to just comment on the what you're doing, what most people are doing. I have to say, I think from people I've talked to and my observations, yeah, it's people are kind of frustrating, but or some people are kind of frustrated. But I think as a whole, I've been surprised by how resilient and how everything has kind of gone pretty well. Like I
Yeah.
think that the technology is there. Oh, it has been there for the last few years, but now it's paying off. And kids, well, we all know it's a cliche. Kids are resilient, right? Which they are. But even like the parents and stuff, for the most part, seem to be doing pretty well with it. So I'm really glad to see that. I feel very spoiled because my kids are in school full time, and now that's been interesting. So let me tell you how that's gone. So they all wear masks and their desks are far apart. They either eat desk in their classroom most days. I think there's like one day a week they eat in the lunchroom, but they all like sit far apart, which is
Right.
kind of bizarre, right? But um they're yeah, I'm trying to think if this is a privacy issue, but it's not because I'm not going to say the school or the kid's name or anything. But we did have our first case in at the school. But what happens is there is a protocol. So like we get for like the first month,
Mhm.
there was just nothing. We didn't hear. I mean, we knew all the precautions that were happening,
Right.
but I think everyone was like, "What's going to happen when somebody does get exposed?" They send out an email anytime somebody reports that they sort of like with your situation, right? Like you would have had to tell the school,
Right.
like my kid, I don't know, with yours being so many, but whatever. If your kid was like at a birthday party and somebody at that birthday party turned out to be whatever symptom or have COVID, they would get held out and email goes to everybody. But up until like last week, I think it was, there were no actual cases of COVID in the school. There was just a case of COVID. And basically, where they say, hey, once this email's gone out, we've already contacted everybody that was around that kid.
Right.
So, like, that whole grade had to then do virtual from home
Oh, wow. Okay.
and I can't remember how long, but it was like, I think they might still be doing it. So it was like, as
Oh,
soon as one kid in the class tested positive, everybody. So I was glad that my kids, it wasn't one of my kids' grades, but like they know who the kid is. You're not supposed to know,
right.
but
Of
they,
course. Yeah, that's gonna all get around and very
yeah.
quickly if you're not in a
But so what? And
area.
here's the other thing. You might. I wonder what you're. I don't know if you'll cringe when you hear this, but my son is playing basketball, and I'm letting him play basketball. But here's the thing: they've got to wear masks the whole time.
That's
So
tough.
even when they're playing, and I'm like, he's had a couple practices now, and I'm like, dude, I was winded. I remember I played basketball through high school, and I was like, practices are rough
Mhm.
already. I can't
Mhm.
imagine. I get winded in the grocery store with a mask on. I can't imagine playing basketball with a mask on. And he's just like, yeah, it stinks, but what are you gonna do? Like we got
That's
to
a
do it.
good
So
attitude. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, he rolls with stuff, and so bottom line is they are so used to it. It is
Yeah.
second nature now. I mean, both of them, they don't even take it off. They get home from school, and I'll be like, mask, or like they'll get in the car, we'll be driving, and they're like, oh, they forget they have it on
Yeah.
because it's just so second nature. So it's going well. My son will be going to high school next year, and we're not sure yet exactly where he's going to go. But it'll be a new. I mean, I I think next year, and we should talk to our teachers again and get the
Mhm.
update. Um, I mean, don't you think it's just going to be the same deal? I mean, I don't see anything changing anytime soon because we're right in the thick of things again, right?
Yeah, and the vaccine is not gonna be what I mean, like, there's promising news with the vaccine, which I think Pfizer's was like 95%
Yeah,
effective rate last time I saw. And hopefully that's gonna be quick, but then, you do have reservations about taking a vaccine that was so quickly thrown together. I believe in science. am hopeful for it, but I don't think that obviously it's going to first responders and high risk first. And it's going to be, I mean, despite again what that the military is going to, have a parade and just throw out the vaccines. I don't think that's going to happen. I think
Right.
it's going to be uh, way worse than trying to get tested, trying to get a vaccine. I think it's going to be real hard. But
I do too.
so that's not until like mass distribution. We'll be lucky if that's spring.
Yeah,
So
we're gonna be doing this. The more I think about it, the more as you're talking, I'm just like, yeah, we're gonna be doing this for a long time. We're gonna
so
be doing this for a long time.
so if you've come here for a Sunshine and Rainbows podcast about
Yeah.
you just keep focusing on the puppy
Ooh,
wherever
okay.
he is.
Okay. So yes, in the same vein of um, the puppy and good things, let's because I do feel like we've been very honest and somewhat pessimistic on some things. And this was something I thought we could do in our year-end episode, but why not? Let's do a little bit of it now. Let's talk about, and I didn't give you a heads up on this, so if you don't have anything now, you can save it. What is something good that happened in 2020? Like, was there, and I can start, and I think you'll like this one. So, a positive thing that happened in 2020, and you may or may not know this, is um, on November 25th, which this will either be released on that day or the day after. Saved by the Bell is back. Did you know that?
Well, I did not know that. And thank you for just saving 2020.
Yeah. So
I knew about Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, like
yes,
reunion.
that's another one. Yes,
Okay.
a lot of a good. Well, that can be yours if you want. They did a little reunion. I haven't watched it yet, but the Saved by the Bell. I actually went to the gym today because I haven't in a while, and I'm like, I need to get the blood flowing and get out of here. And I was watching you know how you have your headphones on, and you're just kind of staring at the screen and whatever's on.
Yeah.
And I said, "Is that Jesse Spano?" And it was Jesse Spano. And I said, I don't know because, it's been a while and she's a little older or whatever, but I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's Jesse Spano.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's Slater, which, by the way, like,
Doesn't age.
yeah. First of all, none of them age. I don't know about Screech, but like unfortunately, Belding, I believe Belding passed. And he definitely aged. Oh, he may not have. I don't want to speak out of turn here. But you can Google that. I'm not going to take the time. Not you, but the listener. But anyway, so there was Slater. So what they're doing is it looks like it's a reboot. But Spano, I think, I don't even know her real name. But
Elizabeth Berkley,
and I'm pretty sure she's excited for.
yes,
So
excited, like naturally excited this time, maybe.
Well, yes, naturally, yes. She's not on pills,
yeah.
But that's what we're getting at. So what about you? Other than Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, anything you can take away as a big positive? Just to tease out our year-end special where we'll try to find some good.
I'm going to go back to something we talked about earlier. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go back to memes because memes have, like I said, if we cannot agree on politics or anything else on whether COVID is real or not, whatever you want to believe, we can all agree that memes are hilarious.
Yes.
And even if they're not hilarious, which then they don't make it viral. Then they don't go viral. So they're not even
the meritocracy is what you're saying. Yes.
So those have been, I love reading those now. They just, before, all right, I'd see a meme is fine. But now I'm like holding on to them. I'm sharing them. I'm like,
they have been there for us.
Copying them and I'm putting them in my story.
Yeah. And you should keep doing it. And just today, I was in the middle of work. I was like, I got to take a break. I got on Instagram and I started wondering, am I having mood swings? Like, what's wrong? Because I was laughing so hard. I saw 3 memes in a row that made me, like, by myself, just laugh so hard. I sounded like the Joker. I sounded insane. One of them was a guy who had gotten a mask, and it's like, has a mouth and it's like a duck face. I can't explain it, but it's like it looks ridiculous. And his wife won't get in the car with him because it looks so stupid. And he's like talking, and it was just. And I'm like, see, this is what we need to get us through this is
Exactly.
laughter. And so I wholeheartedly agree. Memes have stepped up this year because we're stuck at home and everyone needs to laugh. It's like,
Everybody, yeah. What else are you going to do? I mean, and I also feel like it's something that has brought us all together, right? Like it's just that if you've not felt that community feeling, just share a meme, have someone react with like a heart emoji, a laughing emoji, and I swear it will make your day better. That's all.
Well, I send you stuff sometimes that I see, and I have another kind of chat that I every day for the last, like, I didn't even know what memes, memes weren't. I mean, the word meme, I mean, memetics and all that, I mean, it's been around forever, but like in the term that we're talking now, it really wasn't a thing until a few years ago. But I have a group now where we send our favorite ones 2 or 3 every day.
I love
And it's
that.
like, I need that. And like, so I remember about a year ago, before all this pandemic stuff, but it was about a year ago. Have you ever gotten to the point where you're just like, I need to disconnect from everything?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I was having one of those things where I was like almost having anxiety from just the social media I had. I was just like, I just need to get off everything. So I disabled my Instagram, Facebook, everything. That day, I get a text from my chat group on Instagram that, because this chat group, these are friends I made a while back. They don't even live in town. They're like online friends, and they're like, what the hell is going on? Like, why aren't you in the group chat? I was like, oh yeah, I'm just like taking a break from Instagram. Why? It was like grilling me, like, no, you have to get back on the group chat. Like, we need the memes. You need to send your memes. I was like, damn, okay. And like literally, I was only off Instagram for about an hour. That's the power, because I was like, okay. But then I realized, I was like, yeah, I don't want to give up my daily dose of my curated memes.
Nah, you can't do it.
So anyway, yes, the rise of the meme.
Yeah.
It sounds like the worst Star Wars movie ever, but
powerful thing.
Yes.
Well, let's talk about one last thing.
Yes.
And that could be causing some panic, which is causing panic for a lot of people. Thanksgiving. So I'm going to ask what you're doing, and no judgment here at all, because I think every family is different. There's some people have been tested. Some people have been, I mean, there's a whole bunch of reasons why people might be getting together now. If you're having like a ginormous Friendsgiving with like 20 people, then I'm going to judge you. But otherwise, so what are you doing?
Well, you may be surprised. I am now, when I say this, don't go aw, because it's not aw. It's fine. I'm doing nothing. My mom. So Thanksgiving is so as a divorced parent, my ex-wife generally has the kids for Thanksgiving, and then I have them for Christmas Eve, and I see my mom and sisters. And my mom, I haven't given actually, I did give her a hug once, but like she has her immune system is not good.
Mm-hmm.
She's got some health issues, and so there's no way we can't do it. So we're not going to do our normal Thanksgiving this year, and I'm going to just have a day off, and I'm working Friday.
So are you going to be? So when you say you're doing nothing, does that mean you are by yourself?
So I have been invited to a friend thing, but I'm undecided, and the friend thing is only 2 other people. That was made clear to me. So it's long story. I'm probably just going to stay home and do nothing. Yeah, maybe I'll get some mashed potatoes at the store and just pound those or something.
Yeah,
turkey.
Some Netflix marathon. That sounds like a dream.
Yeah, it sounds amazing, right?
Come true to me. It doesn't sound awe at all. It sounds like
thank you,
something that I would love to do. No responsibility to cook for anybody. No, just being alone, doing it, whatever you want to do. I don't know. That sounds like Thanksgiving.
Well, now that you don't have COVID, tell Mike you got to do podcast stuff, and you can hang out here or do nothing. But yeah, I mean, it's great, and I'm totally planning on just because I haven't done that. I mean, this year's been crazy with work and with kids and school. Everything else is like, to just have a day to do absolutely nothing. So now, what about you? Now, I am curious. So you got your COVID test. You're negative. Does that impact your plans? Yeah, you're gonna do a big a big get together, or what? What are you up to?
I'm just doing my immediate family and my mom, who watches my kids anyway and is over here all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Just us. So not even my brother and like their family. Like nobody. We might get together afterwards for like drinks around the fire pit or something, but no. And it's just, and my in-laws just canceled. They were supposed to come down the day after Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
And they just canceled, and we were really sad about that. But she's got a weakened immune system. Cases are going up, and especially where they are in the United States, cases are skyrocketing. So they just didn't feel safe. And I get it. Like, my in-laws are people who really need to, like, they like to stop at the rest stop. Like, the rest stop is on 95 is for resting and going to the bathroom. Like, that's their vision, like they don't want to stop at a McDonald's. They don't want to stop at a hotel, or rest stops. They're kind of like gross as it is. And it's a little bit, it's dangerous. So anyway, they're not going to come down, but just making a few things and like scaling it back, Zooming my brother and their kids' cousins, and that's it. Like, what are you going to do? But I'm looking forward to a little bit more low key.
Yeah, I mean, somebody posted something on Instagram. Which by the way, it's like I got off Twitter, but what people do is they like screenshot their tweets and put them on Instagram.
Right.
But which is fine. But she put, actually it was Kristen Carney, who we just interviewed for our other podcast, and maybe we'll have on here. And she put something like, people need to stop pretending they're upset about like not having holiday plan. Like, this is it's like, yeah, you can be mad when like the governor says you can't do certain things, but this is one you need to be thankful for. But it's a joke. I honestly don't feel that way. I do love having Thanksgiving with my mom and sisters. And it actually, it's the same thing as your situation. They were going to come here. And then it was like a week or two ago, they were like, no.
Yeah. I mean, you miss it, but like 1 year.
It'd be all right. Yeah.
All right. It's all right. But
I just went on low energy mode on this computer. I realized.
Oh my God. I was just about to tell you the same thing. I'm like 4% going down to 3%.
Yeah. Well, listen,
wrap it up.
This was our special Panic emergency edition podcast, and we will be back soon. And I think we're going to be doing some more fun stuff. So thank you for listening. Erin, thank you, by the way, for waiting up. We're recording a little later than we had planned. And say goodbye. Can we say the puppy's name, or do we need to?
Do I need to protect his privacy?
I mean, give him a code name. What's the code name?
Well, gosh, his name is kind of a code name, but we'll call him Napoleon Dynamite.
Sweet. I like it. All right, Napoleon, go eat your tots.
Do it.
He did. Yeah, he did. He looked up at you. Well, hey, Erin, I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And we will chat very soon.
All right.
Bye.
Speaksies.